everybody. Lovely, lovely, lovely to
Hello
see you.
there.
Yeah, please wave. That'd be really nice. It's just so lovely to have you all here at what we've decided we should keep calling our spring gathering, because we've decided as a team that we're completely over winter. It's just nothing. Winter is nothing to us anymore. So this is our spring gathering, um, working together to think about living in the place we call home. So really looking forward to spending the day with you. I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping stuff and the Zoom stuff at the beginning before I hand you over to Anna. So
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Anna, as Trisha said, and it's really lovely to have you all here and to see so many faces again. It feels a while since we've done one of these, so it's lovely to see everyone, and thank you for coming. And also want to thank Community Catalysts and Dunhill, who have sponsored today's event, so that's great. Thank you to them. So we're here today to think about what home means to us all and why living in the place we call home is so important. So many of you will know that earlier in the year, we held an inquiry called Whose Social Care Is It Anyway? And you can see on the slide there a picture of the report that we published. It's a really short report. It's not like a traditional report. So if you haven't read it, feel free to go and have a look. And there's also an easy read version. And we did that because we felt that there were so many discussions and conferences around about social care and what it should be and reform, but that actually they weren't hearing from people like us. I myself, I draw on social care, so I employ PAs, and there's many of us who ourselves have so much to offer because we use the social care system, but we weren't being heard. So we decided to hold our own inquiry, and it was led by a group of 12 of us, all of us ourselves or our loved ones draw on social care. And we started really from a place of the Social Care Future Vision, which you've probably heard many times, but I'm just going to read it out again. And that is that we all want to live in the place we call home with the people and things that we love, in communities where we look out for one another, doing the things that matter to us. So we took that vision and we said, okay, what would need to change to enable more of us to experience that vision in our own lives? Because we know that often when you have to interact with health and social care, that those things get taken away or the choice is taken away. So we asked you all, and many of you contributed. We heard from hundreds of people. So thank you to any of you that did contribute to the inquiry. And what people really told us was that actually there were 5 key things that if they changed, hopefully more people would experience the vision. And these 5 key changes that we recommended were communities where everyone belongs, so we all feel part of the community, living in a place we call home, leading the lives we want to live, more resources better used, and sharing power as equals. So we did write that short report that you can see a picture of there, but that's not the end of the inquiry. We're going to be moving into sort of phase 2. I'm not entirely sure yet what that looks like. We're all working it out together because Social Care Future, that's what's brilliant about us. It's everyone together. It's not just a group of us in a room over there. So we are looking at each of those 5 key changes, and as part of that, we're having an event to go into each one more deeply. And today is event number 2, and that's living in the place we call home. So hopefully that's what you were expecting to talk about today. And we're also, as part of this next phase of the inquiry, being supported by some partners. So we've got Research in Practice who are looking into some of the evidence behind these key changes. Also today and at all the events being supported by some people from Manchester Met University who are going to record for us all these great ideas that everyone's going to be sharing. So today is not going to be a traditional conference. It wouldn't be Social Care Future if it was. It's going to be very interactive. We want everybody to be really involved. We haven't got sort of keynote speakers that you have to sit and listen to. Instead, we've called them keynote listeners. So you may well have some in your sessions, but we really want to hear from you. So get involved, feel free to share whatever you want. Everybody has something to say about the place we call home because we all live somewhere, don't we? And we all want to live somewhere that is like a home to us. And whether we do it in the minute or we don't, please do share what you want to today. So that's all from me. I hope you will enjoy the day. I hope you feel able to share what you want. And this is just part of the conversation, part of our journey into hopefully bringing the vision about in all of our lives. So I'm going to hand back to Trisha, who's going to be our MC for today. Thank you, everyone.
MC, I like that. That'll be me. Facilitator, herder of cats, I usually say, don't I? So yeah, so brilliant. Thanks so much, Anna. That's a brilliant introduction. So just a few bit more detail about what we're going to do today. So as Anna said, not lots of traditional talking at you. We've got a little bit more while longer together now, up until about 11 o'clock, possibly a little bit earlier. We're going to be together, doing some thinking about and getting some inspiration about what a place called home might mean. Then we've got the main part of the day will be the chance to work in 2 breakout sessions. So we'll be together until about 11. Then we'll have a break, and at 11:15 we'll come back, and that'll be the first breakout session. And I'll tell you more about that before we get to it. Otherwise, you'll be thinking about that then. So I'll let you focus on now. So we've got a breakout session that'll be run from 11:15 to 12:45. So an hour and a half. And then at 12:45 we'll have a break for lunch for 3/4 of an hour, and then you'll come back into your together, and then we'll go into a second breakout session, which you'll work in again for an hour and a half, and then we'll come together towards the end of the day for a final half an hour together at 3:30, and I promise we'll be done and finished by 4 o'clock. So lots of good, interesting things to do, and lots of interactive stuff, hopefully. So to get us started, I just wanted to really get us all thinking about what a place called home means to us. You know, what's really good, what's vital, what do we really need to have to feel like we've got a place called home? And that'll kind of help us think, if that's our North Star, if we're really clear about what our North Star is, where we want to be, that should help us think about how we want to get there. So what I've got to start off with is 3 videos that I'd like to play you. I'm using the word I very loosely, Gaynard's going to do the techie stuff. So we're going to see the first one in a minute. And this is, we've just put this in actually at the last minute, and it was put together 2.5 years ago, May 2019. Yeah, when the world was a very different place, and it was one of our when we were first starting to come together to think about what social care future was all about, and what life should be like, and what our vision was. And something that came up really clearly was just this concept of home. Neil Crowther pulled together some of the images and thinking from that session in May into a really lovely little video. So I'll show you that first of all. Thanks, Gaynor.
Home, I've been so alone, you see. You just can't believe the joy I did receive when I finally got my leave and I was going home. Oh, I flew through the sky, my convictions could not lie. For my country I would die, and I will see it soon.
The next video is from Jane Williams. Now, some of you might have seen Jane on social media. Jane's supported to live at home by Micro Business in Somerset. So she's going to share her thoughts.
I'm going to talk about the need for care. Growing old is shit. Let me start with a few lines from this feisty rap I wrote when I was 90. There is a time when you lose your competence, lose your energy, lose your independence, become a parcel passed around the family. When the music stops, who's holding granny? It's even worse if you lose your wits and go out shopping in your bra and nicks. As Lord Byron said, always laugh when you can. It's the cheapest medicine. My name is Jane. I'm 93 years old. I'm an only child of loving parents. I've been a wife, a lover, a mother of 2 children, Daniel and Kate, a teacher, a therapeutic counsellor. When I was 70, I made 2 tourist films and started a poetry group, which is still thriving. But now I'm a widow, living alone. I'm going to talk about the need for care in my own home. Home is where our story begins. Home is the starting place of love. Home is where the heart is. As the pandemic developed, lockdown isolated me. I developed a severe anxiety disorder. Critical time that I found Somerset Micro Providers. My initial contact was via the GP. I was given a list of contacts and started getting in touch. I was lucky enough to meet 3 different carers. The initial meetings with each of them gave me hope. My experience is that micro providers are professional, intelligent and capable. They're self-employed, so able to negotiate meeting times. Micro providers are willing to take on a variety of work, shopping, cleaning, personal care, but they have this important ability to empathize, to use empathic listening. Empathic listening is self-affirming. It allows me to have a voice. I had lost my voice. I used to write poetry. For example, Growing Old is Shit. I stopped. But one of my micro providers, Claudia, reignited this fire and gave me the confidence to get my poetry pen out. Because I'm partially sighted, Claudia writes for me while I dictate. We share poetry, and that makes the sadness and frustration of losing some of my independence more bearable. It's not like any other package.
Okay, so the third video we want to share is a montage. We asked a few people the question, what does a place called home mean to you? And I've just pulled them together into a short montage of video clips. So brilliant, thank you. Just while Gaynor setting that up, Sian said, Jane gives me hope.
Living in the place I call home means to me that I live in a place that is set up for me, that is accessible and works well for me. And also means having lots of plants around because they make me happy.
Living in a place I call home means is where not just where my heart is, but the hearts of those I love and trust, and gives me purpose and meaning in my life, alongside others in my daily life.
Living in the place I call home means to me being able to grab my toolbox from the shed and tinkering with various projects around the house.
A place called home for me is where I can be comfortable, surrounded by the people I love, doing the things I want to do, relaxing with my feet up on the sofa and my dog on my knee.
For me, living in a place I call home means my house, my home, that I've lived in for many years now, feeling safe and secure here with my family. It means walking down the road to my local cafe and meeting the people that I know there. It means the Oxfam bookshop. It means going for a swim at my local swimming pool. It means all these things and much more.
For me, getting to live in a place I call home means sometimes I get to shut the door and get left alone. But other times, I can throw open the doors and invite in the people that I want to have a party.
Ella's house is home.
It means choosing what I want to choose. My schedule, activities, decoration, food, guests, privacy, standards of cleanliness. It means feeling safe, in control, and happy.
The place that I call home means that I can be me. That means that I can wake up when I want, I can do the things that I want to do. There are no rotas, there are no people coming into my space that I don't want to be in my space. I share my home with my husband. My home's about love, about entertaining people and doing the things that I love doing. Often that means just snuggling on the couch with the dogs, watching movies, no bedtimes, no rules, just my home.
Being in a place I call home is really important to me. It's important because it's mine, it's where my loved ones are, and where I feel safe.
For my mum at 85, at the end of her life and with serious health conditions, living in the place she called home meant resisting pressure to go into hospital and instead being able to have her family, friends and neighbours around her and be able to say her goodbyes with love. Her final hours were in the comfort of her own home, in peace and with dignity. A good death at the end of a good life.
A place I call home means being able to go out and do stuff when you want, not having to stay in because there are not enough staff or no one's willing to drive you, not having to be home by 3 p.m. and ready for bed by 9 o'clock to match staff shift patterns.
Is a place of safety.
So a place called home for me means feeling safe and secure when I close the door and welcomed and connected when I open it. It's about being able to have more cats than is strictly necessary. It's about sometimes baking cookies at midnight and then even eating them. It's about staying up all night reading or working or sometimes even watching Netflix. It's about sitting in my garden when the sun shines. So it's about living my life my way in my home, even if that makes no sense to the rest of the world.
Home means a place I can play my music as loud as I want.
Home to me is warmth, safety, and people.
To me, a place I call home means people and purpose. And when you sit around the piano and sing, you get both.
Thanks, Matt, for finishing that off. I thought that was important to put last. Brilliant. Anna, I'm really aware that you have to go in about 5 minutes' time to your next gig, so I just wanted to make sure people were able to kind of say thank you to you for that intro bit and understand that you're leaving when you need to leave for your next important thing. So brilliant. And apparently I wasn't sure if she was here. I was looking through the videos and I couldn't see her. But Jane, I think that you might be here. Jane of the wonderful second video, who's hopefully seeing lots and lots of positive messages on the chat from everybody about how amazing your video was. If you wanted to unmute and say hello, Jane, you're really welcome to. I couldn't see you, but Angela, I think you thought that she was here.
She was definitely here. When the video started, I had a look through, Tricia, and I saw Jane in the room.
Okay, well, Jane, that's all right. Just let it know there's lots of love in the room for what you was talking about, so that's fantastic. Thank you. Okie doke, and Anna's going to be back later, so that's fantastic. So hopefully a little bit of inspiration there for you about what living in a place called home means to lots of other people. But now what we want is for you to think about what it means to you. And this is the first bit of clever tech that we're going to use. So some of you, I'm sure, will have done a Mentimeter poll before on other events. They're very good fun. So what you need to do, look at this slick. So Gainer's popped it up there, but she's also going to be put it in the chat as well, the links. So if you go to menti.com and use that code, or you can scan the QR code if you want to, and it will take you to, oh, actually it's our only poll, if I'm honest, but it's our first poll. We want you to tell us what a place called home means. What it should do when you get there, you should be able to put in up to 3 words. 3 words sum up what a place called home means to you. So brilliant, thank you, Gainer. Gainer's popped that into the chat, so if you go into the chat and just what it will do is, hopefully, as you do it, create a beautiful word cloud for us with all the images. Oh, it's starting already. There we go. I do love this. See, Martin, how exciting this is? Who'd have thought it? We've got lots of people to put it, so it's going to take a few minutes to do. You can just, yeah, as Angela says, you can just click on that link and it takes you straight there. Wendy, I like what you said. Hashtag Be More Jane, I think, would be a great hashtag to trend there. Think of those words that, as you all know, the words that are the biggest are the ones that come up the most often. So we've got, unsurprisingly, we've got love. Look at that. Safety, love and comfort is coming up. Privacy, happiness is a big one as well. Freedom. Family. That's getting bigger. But love is absolutely the biggest at the moment, so. Oh, brilliant. So let's have a look through. So yeah, love is at the centre. How amazing is that? Brilliant. So safety, love, comfort, freedom, control, privacy, belonging, friends, independence. So we've got a couple more coming in. No judgment. Peace. That's lovely. Yeah, we'll send, Lucy, you're asking if we can get an image. We'll share the image of the word cloud, and feel free to screenshot it if you want to whilst it's going, but we'll definitely share it. So there's a few more coming in there though. Brilliant. That's just fantastic. I think that's lovely. I think that's perfect. The fact that we've got comfort, safety, love, family and freedom as the key ones there are absolutely, is just, that says it all, doesn't it? The fact that love's in the middle of it though, I think is amazing. And Angela, you're just saying, I know that for people who live with others that love is key. And Angela says, I live alone, so less link for me. But I think that's true, that the idea that love is definitely at the centre is really important. So we've heard a lot then, so if we can unshare now, Gaila, that'd be brilliant. So we've heard the videos, we've heard what other people are saying, you've shared what you think, and we've had that really clear themes around freedom and love and family. Let's just have a look back now at the inquiry findings, and Isaac's going to talk us through what people who draw on social care support talked about in terms of what their experience was of a place called home, and therefore what needs to change.
Hello and good morning, everybody. So I'm Isaac Samuels and I live with my husband and 4 dogs, and you would have seen me and my home. So I probably should share that once upon a time ago, I lived in supported living and I had no choice, no control, didn't even have the right to say who came and supported me. And small things like leaving the sink full of plates would mean that somebody would write up that I was being non-compliant, with my medication. So my home is really important to me because I can be who I am, feel safe, and do what matters to me, and be loved by people that matter and care for me. I joined the inquiry because the inquiry's statement, the Social Care Future statement, was the only statement that resonated for me. It was great to be amongst many people that draw on care and support. And what we did was we asked people about their experience of social care, drawing on social care. Home was absolutely vital to people in our inquiry. People spoke of the support that they received from social care, and they spoke about the needs that they wanted around their homes and how this was really difficult at times. And people spoke about there being a reality rhetoric gap. Unfortunately, there's no surprise that most people spoke about social care in their homes being really fragile, dependent on the kinds of care and support they receive. It's really important to recognise that everybody that contributed really talked about their aspirations and the reality of day-to-day life, how they were able to be supported in their homes. And when they had to make decisions about their homes or moving, it was really difficult for them because there was really lack of choice and control in where they would end up. No surprise that our inquiry report was called From Permanent Lockdown to an Equal Life. In the inquiry, we heard from people with lived experience. We also heard from people, what we might call people that live in their original homes, and others living with support in other types of accommodation. As somebody that lives in my home and has lived in supported accommodation, it's very different. We heard from people who described how insignificant, or the wrong type of support left them unable to live the lives they deserved and wanted to live, unable to live like their peers lived. People described time and task transactional support that was too limiting in its focus, not enough support, focused only on basic life and limb tasks, finishing tasks, washing and dressing. I don't know about any of you, but that's not what I call a life. Beyond formal social care support, people spoke to and of the limitations of their housing and the range of barriers whilst accessing different types of housing. People also spoke about how housing often meant that they didn't and weren't able to maintain the things that they once did, and they lost their connections with other people. People also told us when people had to make choices due to tough circumstances to move, this was also really challenging, as accommodation often wasn't person-centered and people had very little choice in which accommodation that they were able to access. This often meant that people lost their local and family connections and were unable to do the things that were important to them. Some people spoke of institutional features of their accommodation and support, which meant their previous interests and relationships were discontinued and or lost completely. How sad is that? These were not all of the experiences, though. Some people spoke of good support that gave them significant choice and control, kept them well connected and able to do the things that matter to them. However, people also talked about the fact that this was very fragile at times, and this could change at any point due to future funding resources, future resource decisions, change of staff or management. So today we're here gathered as people that draw on care and support, or are interested in making a difference to people that draw on care and support. What we heard from people, that there were some key things that we could all do together. Tricia, are you able to put up the slide? Thank you. So people said we should be supported to live in our own homes with the necessary adaptations, technology and flexible personal support directed by us. So important. Oops, my screen's gone blurry. Go back here. Sorry. People also talked about, if needed, we should be supported to plan ahead for ourselves and our families with the information, advice, support and advocacy that helps us make good decisions and choices that are right things for us. Much of the best come from our peers. So true. People also talked about, if we move from our original homes, a good choice of housing and support options must be available, so we can not simply be placed in a one-size-fits-all institutional care. When we choose housing with support options, we must be supported in a way that keeps us as free to live our lives as possible, not putting up with different rules and controls that no one else has to endure. So the inquiry showed a big gap between what people's expectations are and people's experiences, hence why we're here today. So I hope today that we can really come together to really share our own experience to move on this conversation for people like myself, and we get people to start thinking about what can we do to break down these barriers and challenges that affect people that need care and support. Also, how can we persuade those people in roles of leadership that might be making some of these decisions to lead in a different way? For me, I would always go back to the statement, the Social Care Future statement. So I'm going to hand back to Tricia. Tricia, over to you.
Brilliant, Isaac. Thanks so much. So really clear gaps there. And of course, the first thing we're going to say is that, yeah, money's an issue, and it is, and we can't say that money isn't an issue, but I think there's also lots and lots of things there that there are opportunities for us to do things differently. And that's essentially what we want you to do spend the rest of the day thinking about, is actually, what do we do about this then? So what we're going to do after break is you've got the chance to work in one of two sessions, okay? And I think you're seeing this from the, oh, look at that, Gaynor, this is seamless, straight in the chat. So there are two streams, two small groups you can work in, smaller groups than this that you can work in. The first one is living well in your original home. Now, these two groups are a little bit arbitrary in terms of how we frame them, but essentially, if you're interested in living well in your original home, so like Anna living in her own flat, me living in my own place, Jane living in her own house, getting support in what is your original home, or you might think of it as your family home, then that's the first stream, okay? Living well in your own home or your original home. If you're interested in thinking about how we make a difference for people who are wanting to live well in another kind of accommodation, so maybe you want to be in, you need or choose to be in some form of supported accommodation, then that's stream 2, okay? You don't have to stay in the same stream. You haven't signed up for the whole day. So actually you could join one for half of the session, then go into the other one for the other half of the session. You can do one session this morning and one session this afternoon. So you can flick between groups. That's absolutely fine. But the link's there in the chat. It will be what we'll do in a minute. When I finish this, we'll come off this Zoom call. You'll have a break. And then when you're at 11:15, a little bit before, if you want to, just hop onto the next session. So the living well in your own home, in your original home, is going to be facilitated by Martin and Isaac. And listeners will be Helen Sanderson, Rob Fountain and Donna Hall. And stream 2, which is living well in accommodation with support, is going to be facilitated by Clenton and by Angela, and there'll be keynote listeners will be Lucy Series, Sean Lockwood and Ewan King. So have a think while you make a brew about what you want to do, which session you'd like to be in, and then we'll see you in one of the 2 sessions after break time. So everything good? Angela says, Trisha, can you tell people how to follow the link in the chat when this session is ending now? Right, so you have also got, when you joined, everybody has got the link, did have the link sent to them. So if I were you and if you can't find the link that you were sent originally, if you go now onto the session you want to do and actually copy that link so that you're ready to go. So I'm gonna chat. Maybe, I don't know, get Martin to sing for a little bit. I'll keep chatting for a little while so you've got time to look to copy those. Or Gain has just put all the links from the day again here in one place, so you can click on that.